Hi guys, it's Jo here from Daisy, and today I wanted to do a little tutorial on how to use our universal grid ruler. So we've got two different options available. We have the grid ruler with spaces and we have the grid ruler without spaces. I'm going to start off by using the grid ruler with spaces. So as you'll see on this one here, the boxes on our ruler have got a single dot grid space between them. And this is just going to decide what your spreads look like visually once you've laid them out. If you want spreads that are boxes, full boxes with a space between, this is the one you want to go for. If you would rather have your spreads taking up all of the space and not leaving a box between your boxes, so having them right up against each other, then the guide without spaces is the one you're looking for. I'm going to start off with this one and start off with one of the main functions, which is to visualize how you're deciding your space. So this is a ruler, not a stencil. We have added a stencil function to the top of it, which is the checkbox guide. But the main use for this is to measure out your space and to visualize your space. So if I'm taking this A5 journal and I want to split the space that I have vertically, I can lay my ruler on and I can see here that if I wanted to split the space into 3 equal columns with a space between each column, then this is the width of box that I need, because this box goes right up to the page edge and over the page edge this side, so it's going to be too wide. If I wanted to split it into 4, I can see that this is not going to be big enough. That's going to be too big, sorry, the journal's not big enough. This size is taking me right up to the edge of the page. This width, I can fit 4 equal boxes across, so I know that I can fit 4 columns that width down the page, and I've got a little bit extra, so it allows me to visualize how that space is going to look when I'm dividing it up. So let's go ahead and divide the page into 3 equal columns. So I know that I want to use this row here, and unlike the grid ruler, there are no holes in this, so you need to be a little bit more strategic. So what I'm going to do is place the grid ruler so that it's lined up with the dots, and then using another ruler or any straight edged object, what I can do is align the dots with the edge of this, and I know that's the edge of my box. I know that is the edge of my box. Again, aligning it so that it's along a dot row. That's the edge of my box. That's the edge of my box. There. And the side edge there. So I've made marks on my page that are dividing this page into 3 columns without counting any dots. I know that that is evenly spaced. And if I want to go ahead and draw those columns in, I can do that. I'm just doing this with pencil now, but obviously you could do it in pen. You could add days of the week to the top of the page, top of the columns, and then you've got like a weekly spread, or maybe you're doing some sort of to-do list where you need to prioritize into most urgent, second priority, and kind of later stuff. This would be a good spread for that. And then I'm just going to join those up at the top. So that's your first usage for the universal grid ruler, is just visualizing how you're going to split up your page and sorting that right onto the page straight away. Really quick, nothing counted, that's divided up evenly. But the best thing with the grid ruler is that it doesn't need to be full standard page sizes. So this is a full A5 page, but quite often you will have already added decoration to the side of the page. perhaps you put some washi tape down like this one. So you're not going to have the whole page, so you might want to find the center of this area that's left. Now if you want to do that, it's really easy. You'll see that on our Oops A Daisy journals, if you were using the whole page, we have got a center mark and a side center mark, so you can easily find the center. But where that is on here, that is no longer the middle of this space because we've taken up the edge. So we want to find the new middle. So what we're going to do is take our grid ruler, lay it on the page, and all you're looking to do is get the same number along this row on the right hand margin as you do the left hand margin. So if you see that there's an 11 there and there's an 11 there, we now know this is our new center. That's our center point of this space. So that can be really useful if you just wanted to split the rest of your space into two. You can easily find the center. The same for lengthways. If you wanted to find the center, obviously we know that it's here right now, so that's where the center point is, and you're getting a 19 on both dot margins. So this is our center point. But if you only had, you know, if you put a header and you wanted to find the center underneath the header, you can then say the header was taking up to here. You can move this around and you've got 17 and 17. This is your header. This will now be the center of the remaining space. So it allows you to easily find the midpoint, which we often want to do when we're laying out our spread, just to make it look balanced and even and aesthetically pleasing. We can also use the grid ruler to divide up smaller spaces. So this is a A6 Oops A Daisy journal, which will be coming very soon. And the grid ruler will allow us to see very quickly, if I want to split this into 3 boxes, and I look along this row, that's too wide for this space. They are too wide for this space. You're going to need our little diddy box at the bottom, and that is splitting it up into 3. And if I move that, I've got 1 box space either side. So I've got 3 columns and they are evenly spaced and in the middle of the space. So again, it's a really easy way of just visualizing how you're going to split that page up. If we jump over to the alternate version, which is our no spaces, again, I'm going to do a very similar thing, but I'm going to divide, I'm going to remove that mark here. Let's say I wanted to divide this remaining space into 4 columns. So what we can do is lay the boxes across the page. We can see straight away, this one is too wide. This one here, whoop, too wide, you've not got enough room. This one here, you've got 3, so we could divide this space into 3 really nice columns, but not 4. The one below, the 4th one is going into our washi tape, and the one below that, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 boxes across, and I can see there's 2 spaces here. So if I move it across one, you've got 4 columns with 1 space either side. You've got a nice evenly spaced area, and I'm going to grab my ruler. So we're working across this column, and again just lining it up with the edges of those boxes. There's less for me to draw this time because we're not doing a space in between boxes. Like this. There we go. So that is your column marks. Let me show you. For 4 evenly spaced columns across this space with a space either end. Now, if I wanted to divide that into 3 this way, what I can then do is take my grid ruler, and this is where you can have a mixture of 2. So if I wanted to divide it into 3 and have them have, wanted to divide it into 3 and have them have no spaces between, you can see the most we've got on this ruler is 4. So let's think about how else we can make 3 going down. If we had this divided into 6 boxes, we know we need 2 of each of those boxes in order to divide the space into 3. Hopefully that's making sense to everybody. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. Let's evenly space it. So that would divide it into 6. So if I take this instead and go every other one, 1, we now have the page divided into 3 downwards and 4 across. So if you were to join up these spaces, and I'll do that now, going all the way down, there we go. So a little bit of ninja maths. You've just got to think, how many do I want to divide it into and how can I get to that? And really quickly, we've divided our space into 4 boxes across by 3 boxes down, all even sized, all spaced in the center of the space left on the page, even though we've got a washi tape on there. Bosh. So for whatever reason you wanted to use this spread, maybe you want to do it that way, that might make a nice spread for something, you know that you can lay that out on your page really easily. And the same again, if you wanted to do these boxes and have them have spaces between, you'd just use the grid ruler with spaces instead of the grid ruler without spaces and divide them that way as well. Another cool thing with this ruler, both rulers, and they both work in exactly the same way, so you'll see, I'll hold them up against each other, is along the bottom you've got little notches here, here, here and here, and you've got some numbers. So that means that this space here from the edge to the tip of the point, that's 5 dot spaces wide. This one's 6 dot spaces wide, this one's 7, this one's 8, this one's 9, this one's 10. So if you know that you always set up a box that is 5 by 7, for example, so I'm going to do that here, and let's put it in the middle. There we go. Let's put it so that you can see it, sorry. So you know you've got there, and then you want 5, so it's going to be and what's really handy is a 5 by 7 square is approximately, or is, the space you need if you're doing a monthly habit tracker. 7 days of the week across and maximum 5 months in the year. So if looking at my calendar, where am I? January starts on Wednesday the 1st, so it starts there. And it ends on the 31st. That is basically your January calendar. Excuse my scribbles, because it's always a 5 by 7, that being your Monday column, that being your Sunday column. But if you knew that you always like to have a meal plan space that was, let's say 9 wide by 10 deep, you can measure that using your grid ruler. Also makes a good ruler, which is quite handy. And then we can add in our check boxes, and this is your meals. And you always know that you're going to do your meal planner the same. It's just another handy way of using the grid ruler. I really hope that that has helped kind of line out how I would use these and where I would use it in my journal. It's a really handy tool. It works up to an A4 page in width. So if you imagine this is your A4, because A4 is double A5. If you had an A4 notebook and you wanted to divide the space, you can do. It's not set for any particular journal because not every journal has the same amount of dots in both directions. So the reason we call it the universal grid ruler is because you can make it work with really any layout that you've got. The only restriction is that it needs to be a 5mm dot grid. If it's a 5mm dot grid, then it will work for you. I'd love to know your thoughts, and if you have any other questions or anything else you would like demonstrating, please leave them as a comment below the video. And if you have found this helpful, please give us a little subscribe because it means so much to the channel, and we hope that you'll tune into our streams again soon. Take care. Bye bye bye.